opinions of others. I don't think I'm cool at all. The music industry is just a microcosm of the world. So whenever you stand for something and you stand for goodness and truth, you will always get resistance. That's period.
Lauryn Hill was on top of the world, 5 Grammys, millions of albums sold, and a cultural impact no one could deny. But then she disappeared.
Wow. You know what? This is so amazing. I thank you, God. Thank you, Father, so much. This is crazy because this is hip-hop music.
Why did Lauryn Hill walk away from fame, or did the industry force her out? Some say Lauryn refused to take part in the same rituals that many artists accept. Others believe she was blacklisted for speaking out.
Whenever you stand for truth and for the service, the service of others.
Did Lauryn Hill reject the industry's dark side? Was her tax evasion case just a setup to ruin her? And what happened behind closed doors that made her walk away from everything? Lauryn Hill wasn't just a singer, she was a movement. She started her career with the Fugees, where her powerful voice and undeniable presence made her a star. But it was her solo debut, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that cemented her as an icon. The album was a cultural phenomenon, blending hip-hop, R&B, and soul in a way no one had done before. It won 5 Grammy Awards and became one of the best-selling albums of all time.
I want to say thanks to God for honoring me with this huge responsibility.
But then, Lauryn disappeared. No follow-up albums, no industry support, just silence. Rumors swirled. Was she crazy? Was she unstable? Or was she the victim of a system that wanted her gone? Lauryn Hill's journey to stardom was not accidental. It was the result of undeniable talent, passion, and an unshakable sense of self. From an early age, it was clear that she was destined for something greater. Born on May 26, 1975, in South Orange, New Jersey, Lauryn was raised in a musically inclined household. Her mother was an English teacher, and her father was a computer consultant who also sang at weddings and local events. Music surrounded her, influencing her love for different genres, from gospel to classic soul. Lauryn grew up listening to artists like Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Marvin Gaye, musicians whose music had depth, storytelling, and raw emotion. These influences shaped her unique approach to artistry, blending hip-hop with soul and reggae, creating something fresh and powerful. Even as a child, Lauryn was competitive and determined. She excelled in school, ran track, and took violin lessons. But what set her apart was her voice, a voice that would later captivate the world. Her first experience in entertainment came through acting. Lauryn made early TV appearances on shows like As the World Turns, and even performed at Amateur Night at the Apollo Theater when she was just 13. However, her most notable role as a young actress was in Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, 1993, where she played Rita Louise Watson, a rebellious but immensely talented student.
Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore.
Her performance stood out, not just for her acting skills, but for her breathtaking vocal ability. In one of the most memorable moments of the film, she delivered a soul-stirring rendition of Joyful, Joyful, showcasing her talent in a way that left audiences in awe. Even then, Hollywood saw her potential. Offers for acting roles poured in, but Lauryn wasn't interested in becoming just another actress. She wanted to make music, her own music, on her own terms. And soon, she found her way into the music industry through a group that would change her life, the Fugees. In the early 1990s, Lauryn met Wyclef Jean and Pra Michelle, and together they formed the Fugees. The group was unlike anything else at the time, combining hip-hop with Caribbean and soul influences. Their debut album, Blunted on Reality, 1994, went largely unnoticed, but it laid the groundwork for what was to come. Their second album, The Score, 1996, changed everything.
Yeah, I'm the L, won't you pull it? Straight to the head with the speed up.
The album was a commercial and critical success, selling over 22 million copies worldwide and becoming one of the best-selling hip-hop albums of all time. It won the Grammy for Best Rap Album, and its biggest hit, Killing Me Softly with His Song, catapulted Lauryn Hill into superstardom. Her voice was hauntingly beautiful, effortlessly blending rap with soulful melodies, something that had never been done on that level before. Lauryn quickly became the face of the group. While Wyclef and Pras were talented in their own right, it was Lauryn's voice, energy, and natural charisma that drew people in. She was not just a singer, she was a storyteller, a poet, an artist in the purest form, and the industry took notice. But even at the height of her success, Lauryn was different. Unlike many artists who craved fame and validation, Lauryn valued her creative freedom more than anything else. She had a deep sense of spirituality, often speaking about the importance of staying true to oneself and not getting lost in the industry's expectations. This mindset, however, would later put her at odds with the very industry that celebrated her. Lauryn Hill wasn't just a talented artist. She was a young black woman in a male-dominated industry, and she refused to be controlled. She saw how record labels manipulated artists, how executives took advantage of young talent, and how the industry valued profit over artistry. Lauryn had a vision that went beyond making hit records. She wanted to make timeless music, music that would uplift and educate rather than just entertain. But the industry had other plans. Many believe Lauryn's defiant attitude made her a target. She wasn't willing to play the industry's game, and in response, the industry slowly started turning against her. While other artists followed the formula dictated by record labels, Lauryn pushed back, insisting on creating music her way. During her time with the Fugees, Lauryn Hill's relationship with Wyclef Jean became one of the biggest sources of tension within the group. What started as a deep creative connection soon turned into something much more complicated. Lauryn and Wyclef weren't just bandmates. They were also romantically involved. At first, their chemistry fueled their music, but as their relationship became more chaotic, so did the group dynamic.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen Lauryn, but this was a hot chick, you feel me? And I'm a hot dude, so we vibing, you know what I'm saying?
Wyclef was married when he and Lauryn were involved, which made things even messier. As their personal relationship started to fall apart, it created an emotional and professional strain that affected everything, from recording sessions to live performances. Lauryn, who was growing as an artist in her own right, started to feel trapped. Wyclef, on the other hand, later admitted that he struggled with jealousy as Lauryn's star began to shine brighter. She was no longer just the female singer of the Fugees. She was becoming the main attraction. Their falling out wasn't just about personal issues. Creative differences started to emerge, with Lauryn wanting more control over her music and vision. At the same time, Wyclef had his own ambitions and direction for the group. The tension became impossible to ignore, and by the time the score became a massive success, it was clear that the group was holding on by a thread. Lauryn's eventual pregnancy with Rohan Marley, son of Bob Marley, was the final breaking point. Wyclef claimed he thought the baby was his at first, and when he found out the truth, he felt betrayed. This deepened the rift between them, making it nearly impossible to continue as a group. Lauryn was young, ambitious, and unwilling to compromise her values, and soon she found herself at a crossroads. Would she stay in the Fugees, where she had already found success? Or would she take a huge risk and embark on a solo career, one where she could have complete creative control? Lauryn chose the latter, and that decision changed music forever.
I think everything happens in time. You know, there's a time for everything. There's a time to be in a group, and there's a time to be solo. At least there was for me.
When Lauryn Hill decided to go solo, many doubted her. Would she be able to succeed without the backing of the Fugees? Could she handle the pressure of being on her own? The industry, as well as some of her peers, were skeptical, but Lauryn was ready to prove them all wrong. In 1998, she released her debut solo album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And from the moment it dropped, it was clear. This wasn't just an album, it was a cultural shift. With songs like Doo Wop, That Thing, X Factor, and Everything is Everything, Lauryn blended hip-hop, R&B, soul, and reggae, creating something deeply personal yet universally relatable. The album was a massive success, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 and selling over 10 million copies in the US alone. She won 5 Grammys in one night, a historic moment that made her the first woman to achieve such a feat. Lauryn Hill was officially the queen of hip-hop and R&B, but just as quickly as she rose to the top, things started to fall apart. The very industry that had praised her was now turning against her. And soon, Lauryn would learn the harsh reality of what happens when an artist refuses to be controlled. The music industry is filled with stories about the price of fame, what artists must do to stay on top. Many believe Lauryn Hill refused to pay that price. Lauryn spoke about how fame felt like a trap, how she wanted to make music on her own terms, but the industry wouldn't allow it. The more she resisted, the more she was shut out. Then came the lawsuit. In 1998, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was celebrated as a deeply personal and introspective album. It was presented to the world as Lauryn's unfiltered vision, a product of her raw emotions and experiences. But in 1998, just as the album reached its peak in popularity, a lawsuit was filed that would shake the foundation of Lauryn's career. Four musicians, Vada Nobles, Rasheem Pugh, Johari Newton, and Tejamold Newton, claimed they were major contributors to the album but were never properly credited or compensated. They alleged that Lauryn took full credit for songwriting and production, despite their work being a significant part of the album's creation. The lawsuit was not just about money. It became a public trial of Lauryn's integrity as an artist. The same industry that had praised her genius suddenly began to question whether she had written the songs herself. The case dragged on for years, and in 2001, Lauryn settled for a reported $5 million, a staggering amount that fueled speculation about what really happened behind the scenes. Many saw the lawsuit as more than just a legal dispute. It was an orchestrated attack on Lauryn Hill. The settlement did little to clear her name. Instead, the industry took the opportunity to paint her as difficult, ungrateful, and problematic.
And Lauryn Hill is blaming the media for sensationalizing
her last canceled tours.
Canceled tours and missing shows.
The media ran with the narrative that Lauryn was a diva who had turned against those who helped her succeed. Labels, once eager to work with her, began to distance themselves. Executives who once called her a musical genius now whispered that she was unreliable and unstable. She had challenged the system, and the system fought back. Lauryn wasn't just fighting a lawsuit. She was fighting an industry that didn't like independent thinkers. Lauryn's refusal to conform made her an enemy of the industry. Many believe that if she had been a male artist, the backlash wouldn't have been as severe. After all, hip-hop was filled with artists who borrowed lyrics, beats, and ideas from collaborators without facing public scrutiny. But Lauryn was different. She was a black woman who demanded control over her art, and the industry wasn't prepared for that. She spoke openly about how record labels exploited artists, how they placed artists in debt, and how they forced musicians to conform to industry standards. And for that, she was punished. She had reached the pinnacle of success, yet she saw through the illusion of fame. She had wealth, awards, and recognition, but she also saw the dark side of the music industry, the contracts that enslaved artists, the executives who stole creativity, and the manipulation that kept artists trapped. So, she did something no one expected. She walked away. After the lawsuit, Lauryn became a ghost in the music world. No longer the industry's golden child, she was essentially blacklisted. Labels refused to back her. Opportunities dried up. The same executives who once praised her refused to work with her. For years, Lauryn withdrew from the spotlight. She rejected interviews, distanced herself from the industry, and focused on raising her children. Fans waited for a comeback, but Lauryn wasn't interested in playing by the industry's rules. Her disappearance only fueled the media's attempts to discredit her. Rumors circulated that she was mentally unstable, that she had lost her touch, that she would never return to music. Many believe this was intentional.
I'm not in the studio right now, and everybody in my world thinks I'm crazy. What's going on? You need another album out. You know, the time is running out. You have a certain window to make music.
And then there was Brother Anthony. A mysterious and polarizing individual, Brother Anthony's role in Lauryn's life has been widely debated. Some viewed him as a spiritual mentor, someone who guided her through the chaos of fame, while others believed he was a manipulative force, pushing her further away from the industry and into isolation. Brother Anthony reportedly had a profound influence on Lauryn's thoughts and decisions. He introduced her to new spiritual philosophies, encouraging her to reject the entertainment industry's demands and instead focus on her inner journey. Some of Lauryn's closest associates at the time believed he helped her see through the deception of the music business, making her more aware of the exploitation that many artists face. But as Lauryn distanced herself from the spotlight, some began to wonder if Brother Anthony's influence was too controlling. Reports surfaced that Lauryn was cutting ties with former friends, bandmates, and collaborators. She refused to work under any industry contract, spoke against record labels, and became increasingly reclusive. Some speculated that Brother Anthony's teachings pushed her to reject the mainstream world entirely, making her believe that the industry was a corrupt system that sought to enslave artists. Regardless of the speculation, one thing was clear: Lauryn Hill was no longer the same industry darling she once was. She was no longer playing by the rules. As Lauryn withdrew from the music scene, another storm was brewing, one that would ultimately lead to her downfall in the eyes of the public. In 2012, Lauryn Hill was charged with tax evasion for failing to pay taxes on more than $1.8 million in income from 2005 to 2007. The government accused her of deliberately avoiding tax payments despite earning millions. Facing severe legal consequences, Lauryn was sentenced to 3 months in prison in 2013.
Any comments at all?
Lauryn, will there be a Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing to follow up?
But was this just another case of tax evasion? Or was Lauryn being targeted by the industry for refusing to comply? Lauryn herself suggested that the case was politically motivated. She claimed that after distancing herself from the music industry, she became a threat to the system. In a public statement, Lauryn explained that she had removed herself from the industry to protect her safety and well-being, and that she was being punished for resisting the oppressive structures of the business. Many supporters believed her case wasn't just about taxes. It was about silencing her. The industry had already blacklisted her. Now they were attacking her finances. Lauryn went from being one of the highest-paid artists of her time to facing jail time and financial ruin. And the timing raised even more eyebrows. Many celebrities have been caught up in tax evasion scandals, but not all of them face the same level of harsh punishment. For instance, major artists and actors have settled similar cases without prison time. Some pointed out that Lauryn's case seemed particularly aggressive, reinforcing the idea that this was about more than just money. Lauryn Hill's case wasn't just about unpaid taxes, it was about breaking her spirit. Her imprisonment symbolized something much bigger: how the system deals with those who refuse to conform. Lauryn had already rejected record labels, refused to release music under contracts, and had openly spoken out against industry corruption. She had seen the ugly truth behind fame and chose to walk away. But the industry wasn't done with her yet. Her financial struggles, legal battles, and media portrayal all contributed to the destruction of her public image. The narrative shifted from Lauryn being a musical genius to her being unstable, irresponsible, and difficult. And once the media labels a black woman in the industry as difficult, the damage is almost impossible to undo. Some questioned why Lauryn didn't simply pay the taxes and avoid prison. But others pointed out that she was already struggling financially, a shocking reality for someone who had sold millions of records worldwide. Where did all the money go? Who really profited off of her success? Her legal troubles exposed an unfortunate truth. The music industry profits off artists while keeping them financially vulnerable. When Lauryn stopped making money for them, she became an easy target. Looking at Lauryn Hill's story, it's hard not to wonder, was this all a coincidence, or was it an orchestrated takedown? First, she was hit with a damaging lawsuit questioning her credibility as an artist. Then she was ostracized by the industry for refusing to conform. And finally, she was imprisoned, stripped of financial stability, and labeled a fallen star. Was Lauryn Hill truly at fault for her downfall, or was she being punished for her refusal to be controlled? Either way, the industry had done its job. Lauryn Hill, once at the top of the world, was now just another cautionary tale. But Lauryn's story was far from over, and the industry hadn't seen the last of her. Even after all the drama, lawsuits, and media attacks, she never truly disappeared. The music industry may have tried to push her out, but her impact was too big to erase. Lauryn wasn't just a singer, she was a force of nature. Over the years, she's been open about why she left. For her, it wasn't about losing interest or failing to keep up. She walked away because the industry was toxic. Lauryn saw how it controlled and used artists, stripping them of their creativity, freedom, and even their identity. And she wasn't willing to play along. That choice came at a price. The industry turned on her, and fans were left wondering what happened. But Lauryn never stopped being an artist. She's done a few performances, released some music here and there, but she refuses to do things the industry's way. She won't play their game. Lauryn Hill's story isn't about a fall from grace. It's about standing your ground. Even though the system tried to silence her, her influence is still everywhere. Lauryn Hill was blacklisted because she refused to follow the industry's rules. She stood against the system, and the system erased her. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.